Alright, so here I am with my default weapon. It has 3 maximum bullets, then I have to reload it, and it takes a bit of time. If I pick another weapon, it has a different bullet stored. I have different reload times for different weapons. I'm gonna pick up these new, faster and stronger weapons, which you can see shoots faster, and it also reloads basically instantly. And we also have a visual feedback that tells us how many bullets we have left for each different weapon. Hi, I'm Ricky, this is part 3 of a tutorial series. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2, make sure you do now. You can also download the entire project for free from Github, all links in the description. Alright, let's start. I want to begin by fixing an issue that didn't really come up in the last episode, but it could very well come up in your game. That is, we only have 3 slots in our UI for the weapons, and right now we only have 3 weapons, one of which is loaded by default. But if we had a 4th weapon, so I'm just gonna duplicate this one and move it a bit. If I hit play, I'm gonna try and get all 4 weapons. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see that I get an error in the console. So we're gonna fix that now. In here, in the script that we attach to the weapon drop, we're adding a weapon to the player inventory without checking first if we have enough space. So let's open the add weapon function. And before we add a weapon, let's check whether the amount of weapons in possession is equal to the amount of slots in UI. If it is equal, then it means that we are at maximum capacity. So we're just gonna return. Now we also need a way to know if adding a weapon was successful inside the weapon drop, so we can decide whether to destroy the weapon or not. So let's change the return type of add weapon to a bool. And just for clarity, I'm also gonna rename it to try add weapon. And then if we can't add a weapon, we return false. Else we return true. And now in weapon drop, we can call this new function, and only destroy the game object if the function returns true. And that's it. 1, 2, 3, and if I try to pick up the 4th, we don't get an error anymore. Pretty good. And I'm also gonna delete this. And alright, for the next part, we're gonna add a reload time and a bullet size for each different weapon. So we're gonna add a reload system to the weapons so that each weapon has a different amount of bullets that can be fired before we have to reload the weapon. And we're gonna store separate bullets left for the separate weapons. You're gonna see what I mean by this later. For now, let's open the weapon scriptable object and let's add a value for mag size and one for reload time. Now in player inventory, we want to store the amount of bullets for each different weapon. That means that we have to make a list of int and associate it with each different weapon. Something like this. And then when we use a weapon, we decrease the amount of bullets with that specific index of bullets left. We could do it like this, but it's very messy. It's very easy to make mistakes. So instead, we're gonna make a new class to hold together the weapon object and the bullets left for that weapon. And we don't really need to make a new script. So instead, let's make a new class inside the script. So we're gonna make a dynamic class. And inside, we put the weapon object and the bullets left. And now, instead of having 2 separate lists for weapons and bullets, we just make one list of weapon info. And I've called it all weapons in possession info. I'm also going to change the current weapon to be called current weapon info. And instead of only storing the weapon object, we're going to take the info, so we're also going to know the amount of bullets. And now we just have to change the names and a bit of the values. So current weapon info. All weapons in possession becomes all weapons in possession info. And here too. In this case, we also have to call the SO weapon. In here too. The only thing that we have to change a bit is this bit of code here, because instead of just adding a new weapon, we have to make a new weapon info, giving that weapon in, and then also setting the bullets left. So let's make a new weapon info. And let's set its weapon to the weapon to add, and its bullets left to the weapon to add dot max size. And then we paste it in the list. Finally, to be able to show the weapon info list inside the inspector, we have to serialize it. Make sure it's system.serializable and not serialized field. They are two different things. If you go back to Unity, we're gonna get some errors in our player shooting. We just have to replace the names. It's nothing big. So for the attack timer, we say current weapon info dot weapon. We can just copy this and do the same here and here and here. Alright, and now we've cleared all the errors. The only thing that is left is we select the player, all weapons in possession info, let's make a new one, and let's set the default weapon. So I'm gonna put gun. Hit play, and now we are at the exact same point as before. We can shoot, we can pick up weapons, shoot at different weapons. Right now we are exactly as we were before, but now we have a lot more potential to control our weapons. And you can see the all weapons in possession info that we have 3 different weapons. There's only a slight bug that the default weapon doesn't have its bullets left be set automatically, so we're going to do that real quickly. But now you see that we have different values for the bullets for different weapons. For the bullets left of the first weapon, it's pretty simple. We just set current weapon bullets left equals to current weapon dot max size. And here it is. Alright, now to make the actual reloading system, let's go into player shooting. In here, after we've shot, let's decrease the bullets left of our current weapon. Then we check if the bullets left are 0. And if they are, then we want to start reloading. To reload, we're going to add a new value. And another one for the actual reload time, which is going to be very similar to the attack timer. That is, we're going to duplicate a value of the weapon and set it here. This way we can change the value without modifying the scriptable object. Now let's set is reloading to true, and the reload time to the current weapon's reload time. And now let's make a new function to reload. And we're going to call it in update. In here we check if you are reloading. And if you are, we decrease the reload time until it becomes 0. And when it reaches 0, we deactivate reloading. And we reset the amount of bullets in our weapon. Finally, when we try to shoot, let's also add a check for the reload. If you are reloading, we don't want to shoot. I also want to disable switching weapons if you're currently reloading a weapon. So let's go in player inventory, let's add a reference to our player shooting. And when we try to switch a weapon, let's get the player reloading value. And if he is reloading, then we simply return. And now let's just put the player shooting value. And to make it a bit more fun, I'm also going to change the reload times for different weapons. So the plasma rifle, I'm going to set the reload time to just say half a second and the max size to be 6. While for the revolver and the gun, I'm going to keep them like they are right now, so it's more clear which weapon is stronger. So here I am with my default weapon. I shoot 3 times, and then I have to wait a bit before I can shoot again. If I change weapon, I pick up this plasma rifle, which is a lot faster, has more bullets in its max size, and I only have to reload for half a second. It's barely noticeable. Let's also see how many bullets are left for each weapon. Let's go in our canvas, weapons panel, weapon slot, and let's open the prefab. I'm gonna add a text on the button, I'm gonna use Text Mesh Pro, but you can of course choose your own. And I've renamed it Bullets Text. I'm gonna put it on the bottom and add just a bit of margin and maybe make it a bit bigger, and we're good to go. Now I'm actually gonna disable this by default, and in weapon slot UI, I'm gonna add a reference to the text and link the reference. In player inventory, by default, let's turn on the element 0 over weapons.ui text. To turn on the bullet text game object, it's pretty simple. We just take this and let's go at the bottom, and instead of a highlight panel, we choose the bullet text as a game object. To change the actual text, we do this, and we take the amount of current bullets and the amount of the mag size. Great. Now when we add a weapon, we can copy this, and in here at the bottom, we do something very similar, except that instead of the element 0 over weapons.ui, we use the last one that we had, so we already made that here. And instead of the current weapon, we use the weapon that we just made, so new weapon info. And let's see how it looks. So I hit play, up in the top left, here's my weapon, 3 out of 3. If I pick up the other one, also say 3 out of 3, but the final one, it says 6, because that's the amount of the mag size for that weapon. Now we just have to update that number every time we fire. So in player shooting, we are decreasing the amount of bullets every time we shoot, right here. Instead of doing that directly, let's make a new function. So back in player inventory, and call it from player shooting. So instead of using a bullet directly, we do it in this new function. And after we remove the bullet, we can update the amount of text for the current weapon. So very similar, we can take this bit of code here, pass it here, and instead of element 0, we use the current weapon index, and the rest is good. Now we also have to refill the amount when we reload the weapon. So let's make a new function. And in player shooting, when we reload the weapon, so right here, let's call it. And while we are here, let's also take this bit of code here, because we are doing a lot of things inside player shooting what we could do inside player inventory. So let's also take that, pass it here. And after we've reloaded, let's update the text. And that's it. Let's see how it looks. Alright, so here I am with my default weapon. It has 3 maximum bullets, then I have to reload it, and it takes a bit of time. If I pick another weapon, it has a different bullet stored. I have different reload times for different weapons. I'm gonna pick up these new, faster and stronger weapons, which you can see shoots faster, and it also reloads basically instantly. And we also have a visual feedback that tells us how many bullets we have left for each different weapon. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you learned something new. If you have any doubts or any requests about the next topic I'd like to see, whether for this series or in general, do let me know. You can also join the Discord channel if you need some help with your game or with programming. Remember, you can download the project, both this part of the series, so number 3, but also part 2 or part 1 from my Github. It's all free, all links in the description. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, share the video, ring the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, etc. all the stuff, and I'll see you next time. See ya!